Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.
Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Richa Mataji, when you are ready, you can read the verses, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Let me start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udrete Naste Prayeshu Abdreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nashtake.
Hare Krishna. Narana Prabhu, are you able to hear me?
Yeah, so it looks like Mataji logged out, I think.
Oh, okay. I thought it's my computer issue. Okay.
No problem.
Hare Krishna, is everyone able to hear my voice?
Yes, Mataji.
Maybe I somehow Prabhuji, maybe I got disconnected.
Yeah. Oh,
Text 25. Atri Muni was greatly pleased to see that the three devas were gracious towards him. His eyes were dazzled by the effulgence of their bodies, and therefore he closed his eyes for the time being. Text 26 to 27. But since his heart was already attracted by the deities, somehow or other he gathered his senses, and with folded hands and sweet words he began to offer prayers to the predominating deities of the universe. The great sage Atri said, O Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, you have divided yourself into three bodies by accepting the three modes of material nature, as you do in every millennium for the creation, maintenance, and dissolution of the cosmic manifestation. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all of you and beg to inquire whom of you three I have called by my prayer. Text 28. I call for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, desiring a son like him, and I thought of him only. But although he is far beyond the mental speculation of man, all three of you have come here. Kindly let me know how you have come, for I am greatly bewildered about this. Text 29. The great sage Maitreya continued. Upon hearing Atri Muni speak in that way, the great deity smiled, and they replied in the following sweet words. Text 30. The three deities told Atri Muni, Dear Brahman, you are perfect in your determination, and therefore, as you have decided, so it will happen. It will not happen otherwise. We are all the same person upon whom you were meditating, and therefore we have all come to you. Text 31. You will have sons who will represent a partial manifestation of our potency. And because we desire all good fortune for you, those sons will glorify your reputation throughout the world. Text 32. Thus, while the couple looked on, the three deities Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara disappeared from that place after bestowing upon the Atri Muni the benediction. Text 33. Thereafter, from the partial representation of Brahma, the moon god was born of them. From the partial representation of Vishnu, the great mystic Daitriya was born. And from the partial presentation of Shankara, Lord Shiva, Durvasa was born. Now you may hear from me of the many sons of Angira. Text 34. Angira's wife Shraddha gave birth to 4 daughters, namely Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, and Anumati. Text 35. Besides these 4 daughters, she also had another 2 sons. One of them was known as Uttaya, and the other was the learned scholar Brahaspati. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much, Richa. Yeah, when you're ready, you can share Prabhu Krishna Vrindavan.
Yeah. Are you able to hear, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay. Good. Thank you, Risha Mataji, for reading today's translation. We'll start with prayers. Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pachatta Deshatarni. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktarunda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Thank you all for joining. Thank you Sundarama Prabhu for giving this opportunity. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto. We finished 3rd canto and now we are starting 4th canto. Chapter 1, title Genealogical Table of the Daughters of Manu. So just to give a background, in the previous canto, in the last, one of the chapter, Vidura asked Maitreya Muni about the Swayambhu Manu's dynasty. So on the later part of the 3rd canto, we heard about Swayambhu Manu's one of the daughter, Devahuti, marrying to Kartama Muni, and they got 9 daughters and also 1 son, Kapila Bhagavan. And we heard about Kapila Bhagavan's teachings and how he stresses the process of Bhakti Yoga is the only way to go back home, back to Godhead. And then after teaching the Sankhya philosophy, the Bhakti Yoga to Mother Devahuti, and seeing there is no need for him to stay at home, so with his mother's permission, he leaves the ashrama. And then Devahuti, practicing the instructions that were given by her son, Kapila Bhagavan, so she becomes liberated. And then in this, so continuing that, in this 4th canto, 1st chapter, we see the Manu's dynasty. So this is this section is predominantly covers the Visarga part of the Bhagavatam. Like Bhagavatam talks about 10 topics. Atra Sargo Visargascha, Stanam Poshnam Utaya, Manvantara Isha Hanukata, Nirodha Muktir Ashraya, like that. 10 topics. Primary creation, secondary creation, and then how the conditioned living entities situated in this universe, and then the maintenance of this universe, and then there is a creative impetus, and about the Manus, the Ishanukata, the signs of God, and the annihilations, different types of annihilations, and about the liberation, and then the supreme shelter of taking the shelter of Supreme Lord Krishna. So we are in the second section of the second topic of the Bhagavatam, Visarga, the second recreation that is done by the Lord Brahma. So the primary creation is done by Supreme Lord Krishna himself through his various incarnations. With the secondary incarnation, the secondary creation is continued by the Lord Brahma. So in this, so this is continuing the Manu's dynasty, how the various living entities started appearing or created in this material world. So in this chapter so far, we heard how Maitreya Muni is narrating the dynasty of Swayambhu Manu. Like he mentioned about Swayambhu Manu having 3 daughters, Akuti, Devahuti, and Prasuti. And we heard about how Swayambhu Manu adopted the son of Akuti, even though he had two sons, like Priyavrata, Uttanapada are the two sons, but still he adopted his daughter, Akutu's son, because he is the incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Yajna. And Akuti also had another daughter, who is the expansion of Mother Lakshmi, called Dakshina. And then later we heard Maitreya Muni mentioning the Supreme Lord Yajna and Dakshina got married, and Yajna became Indra, and his 12 sons are the demigods at that time, and Marichi is the head of the Saptarishis, like that. And then Maitreya Muni mentioned about the other daughter, Prasudi, who got married to Daksha. So then Maitreya Muni started narrating about Kardama Muni's 9 daughters through Devahuti, so whom we heard about in the previous canto, the final chapters of third canto. So, and Kardama Muni and Devahuti got 9 daughters, and they were Kala, Anasuya, Shraddha, Avirbhu, Gati, Kriya, Khyati, Arundhati, and Shanti. And in the last section, we heard about Kala and also a little bit of Mother Anusuya's lineage. So that now we are continuing in the section of Mother Anusuya's lineage. So, and we heard in the last section by Chaitanya Chandra Prabhu, like how Mother Anusuya got married to Atri Mahamuni, and Lord Brahma ordered him to increase the progeny, and Atri Mahamuni performed great austerity. He meditated on the Supreme Lord within the heart through the Astanga Yoga process, and pleased with his tapasya, we see that, how Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva appeared. So today we'll continue from that, from the sloka 25. In the last sloka, we see that so these 3 deities, how they are appeared, like, Lord Vishnu, so he appeared on Garuda, and in his hand, so he has a disc. And then Lord Brahma appeared on a swan, and he had a kushagras in his hand, and Lord Shiva appeared on a bull, and he had a drum in his hand called Damar. And today we'll continue that from the slokas 25. And we see here Atri Mahamuni was very pleased to see the 3 deities who were appeared in front of him, pleased by his tapasya. But we see that here the effulgency of their bodies are so much that he has to close his eyes. And Atri Mahamuni sees that, these 3 deities were very pleased. And in the sloka, it is mentioned that they are smiling, hasat, smiling, vadanena, with faces. And due to that, Atri Mahamuni could understand that they were greatly pleased. Upalambitam, like. And not only that, they glanced him with so much mercy, Krupavalokana. And Prabhupada mentions that the effulgency of these 3 deities that is coming from their bodies is intolerable for Atri Mahamuni. So that's why he has to close his eyes for a while. So I'm sure, I think many of us probably have a little experience this kind of thing, like all of a sudden when so much sunlight falls on our eyes, then we'll close it. So especially this could happen, like, while we are driving, and then all of a sudden the sunlight falls on our eyes, then we can't see the things properly. So then we have to adjust our vision or pull the driver side front mirror board so that the sunlight will not fall on our eyes, and then we can drive safely, like that. So similarly, we see that Atri Mahamuni seeing so much effulgence from the bodies of Lord Brahma and Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, so he has to close eyes for a moment. So we can understand, like, so if we cannot see the sunlight that's coming from many, many millions of miles away, then what to speak of the body reflections of Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, who are appeared in front of Atri Mahamuni. So that's why our material eyes are not so powerful to see many exalted things in this material world itself. Then what to speak of the effulgence that are coming from these great personalities, and especially from the Supreme Lord. One time, like, somebody asked Prabhupada, like, can you show the Supreme Lord? And Prabhupada says that, first of all, we don't have that qualification to see, like, our eyes are not qualified to see the Supreme Lord. And even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells to Arjuna that when he requested that he wanted to see the universal form, he says that, your eyes is not endowed to see the universal form. So he gives the divine vision to Arjuna so that he can see the universal form. So similarly, to see Krishna everywhere in this material world, or when Krishna appears in front of us, pleased by our bhakti. So we have to develop that kind of vision. We have to make our eyes qualified like that. So that Lord Brahma mentions in Brahma Samhita that the way to make our eyes qualified to see Krishna is to anoint our eyes with the love of Godhead. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochinena. Then we can see Shyama Sundara, Supreme Lord Krishna. That's how we can do it. So that to develop that love of Krishna in this Kali Yuga is to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So through that we can develop our love of Godhead, or associating with devotees, listening about Krishna, like that. So in the text 26 and 27, we see that, here Atri Mahamuni, because he was attracted by the devotees, the three deities. So he gathered his sense, and then he folded his hands and started offering his prayers to these three deities, Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva. So here Atri Mahamuni is saying that so these three deities have divided themselves into three bodies and accepting in charge of these three modes for the purpose of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. So he is offering the respectful obeisances to these three deities. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Atri Mahamuni called for the Supreme Lord, Jagadishvara, or Lord of the universe, who is above the three modes. Because he is the source of everything, and he created this material world, which is managed by the three modes. The Prakriti, with these three modes, manages this universe. And since it is created by the Supreme Lord, this Prakriti works under his direction. Maya Adhyakshana Prakriti Suvites Sacharacharam. And Lord Vishnu himself takes the in charge of the mode of goodness and maintains the universe, this universe. And he gives the other two modes in charge to Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Like he gives the in charge to the mode of passion to Lord Brahma, and similarly Lord Shiva takes the charge of the mode of ignorance. So they are called Gunavataras, because the three gunas are managed by the Lord Vishnu and Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So they are called Gunavataras. So Krishna has unlimited incarnations, and they are primarily divided into 6 categories, like Purusha Avataras, Guna Avataras, Leela Avataras, Manvantara Avataras, Yuga Avataras, Shakti Avashata, like that. And these Lord Vishnu, Lord Brahma, and Lord Shiva are called Guna Avataras because they are managing these three modes. So here the three deities are appeared, and Atrimuni wanted to know who is the Lord of the universe. Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Atrimuni has a doubt about the constitutional position of the Lord Vishnu as the Supreme Lord. So, but of course, he is sure that not all of them are Supreme Lord, and one of them is Supreme Lord. So that's why he is inquiring to reveal who is the Supreme Lord. So in the text 28, we see that he is asking, like, I call for the Supreme Person of Godhead, So, and for a reason to desiring a son like him. And he thought of him only. But, and also he's saying that the Supreme Lord is far beyond the mental speculation of man. And but here all three came. So he's kindly asking to reveal who is the Supreme Lord, because he is greatly bewildered about this. And Prabhupada mentions in the purport that Atri Mahamuni is bewildered because the three deities appeared, though he is called for the Supreme Lord, desiring for his son. Another point here, we see that the Supreme Lord is far beyond the mental speculation of man. So Supreme Lord Krishna, he cannot be understood by our mental speculation or the material knowledge, or studying the Vedas just through the Jnana Kanda like that. So Lord Brahma mentions in the Brahma Samhita that Vedeshu Durlabham. So just by reading, if one thinks that one can understand, so that's not the way that we can understand Krishna. He can only be understood through the process of Bhakti Yoga. Adurlabham Atma Bhakto. Like when one becomes a devotee, then Krishna will reveal him. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Bhaktyamam Abhijanati, like that. So he can only be understood by the process of Bhakti Yoga, or when one become a devotee of Krishna. So then in the text 29, we see that Maitreya Muni is continuing to Vidura, that Atri Muni after speaking, the three deities hearing that, so they smiled and then they started replying to Atri Mahamuni with the sweet words. And in the text 30, we see that the three deities started speaking to Atri Mahamuni, saying that Brahmana, you are perfect in your determination. And therefore, as we have decided, so it will happen. Otherwise, it will not happen. And they're also saying that we are all the same person whom you are meditating. Therefore, we have all come to you. And one thing is here, the three deities are saying that, the determination. So if one has this great determination, the sankalpa. So this is very important for all of us, like to reach our goals. Even whether it could be material goals or spiritual goals. So this determination is very important to reach our goals. Of course, spiritual goals are always recommended because they will help us to cross over this material ocean, which is full of miseries, suffering. Not only that, while we are in this material world, through the spiritual goals or practicing this bhakti yoga, one can become peaceful, calm, and fearless. So that's why this having the spiritual goals are always very, very recommended, very much recommended. And those goals should be maintained and slowly increased with this great determination. This sankalpa has to be there. Like somebody is chanting one round of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and one should have the determination to chant this Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, whatever the number of rounds they are doing it, and slowly as time progress, so increase as to up to a point, at least as Prabhupada recommended, Acharyas recommended, or Guru mentioned, like that, So Prabhupada mentioned to chant 16 rounds every day. So we should have that kind of goals. And we should, to reach those goals, we should have this strong determination. So with that strong determination, it would help us to reach our spiritual goals. As Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita as Drudavrataha. So one should have this determination that as best as I can, so whatever the number of rounds that I am chanting, I should do it. So let me do it. And also, let me reach the goals, the spiritual goals that were given by Acharyas or the Guru, like that. So then we can achieve the success. Then we can make our human life successful. And there is a small story also, like, how the determination will help one to be successful. Like, there is a small bird, so which is staying on a top of a tree which is close to the ocean. And one day the ocean flooded, and then it took all the eggs of that bird. And then the bird requested the ocean to return those eggs, but the ocean laughed and it didn't return. So then the bird said, I will dry out your ocean, all the water of the ocean. So with that great determination, even though the bird is very small, so she wanted to do that. So she takes each one pebble at a time and then puts into the ocean so that water can go out, and then she can find her eggs. So this news reached to the other birds, and other birds started coming help. And then ultimately this news reached to Garuda, so the bird family. So then the Garuda, who is very powerfully, the Garuda came and warned the ocean that to return the eggs of the bird. Then ocean having no chance. The ocean returns the eggs. Like that, the determination helped the bird to get the eggs back, even though the bird is very tiny in front of the ocean. But because she practiced, or she did the activities with great determination, she got help. So similarly, while we are fighting against Maya, which is very powerful, Mamaya Duratyaya, Krishna says that, Maya is very strong. It's very difficult to overcome. So when we fight this strong Maya, so with the little capacity or energy that we have, with this great determination, then Krishna would help us. So Krishna would help us to cross over this ocean of the material world. So Mayam Yetam Tarantite, like he says that. So one who takes practices this bhakti yoga with great determination, they can easily cross this material world because Krishna helps. So Krishna makes this big ocean of the material world to a small size. That size is like a calf's hoof print. So Bhavam Budirvatsa Padam Param Padam, like it says that I will make that this big ocean of material world to a small size, so that one can cross over the material world very easily. And then Prabhupada mentions another thing is Atri Mahamuni unspecifically thought of personality of Godhead, the Lord of the universe, because he has no clear idea of who is the Lord of the universe or a specific form. So that's another thing that for us to understand. Like we see here that, Atri Mahamuni, though he's very learned, very scholar, but still he's missing the point that he is the Supreme Lord. Who is the Supreme Lord, like that? He has the knowledge, like there are three departments and there are three heads, like Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu, and Lord Shiva, who are the heads of the three modes. And he recognized them with their symbols and carriers, but still he missed the point, who is the Supreme Lord. So that's an instruction for us also. Like we have to have the firm faith that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So through the association of the devotees and by listening from the scriptures, we have to come to close to that kind of understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord. So then when one understands Krishna as his, that can only happen when one takes up the bhakti yoga, bhakti amam avishanti. So when we start our bhakti process through this process of the chanting, then Krishna will give that knowledge, the dhami buddhi yogam, like it. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mentions that this process of chanting would help us to develop that kind of perfect knowledge, vidya vadu jivanam, like that, So it will give that kind of a perfect knowledge when we take up the process of chanting, like Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, like that. So this process of chanting will help us to get rid of all our anarthas, and also it will help us to escape the repeated birth and death. And not only that, it will also give anandham buddhivrattam, like it will increase our happiness. So that's why it is very important for us to take this process of chanting sincerely and seriously, like that. Of course, I'm talking to myself. And Mahaprabhu mentions that this is a great benediction to the humanity at large. So that's why everybody should take this process of chanting of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. In the text 31, we see that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, they're mentioning that so Atri Mahamuni will have the sons who are the partial manifestations of their potency. And with those sons, so his reputation will be increased throughout the world. So he will be glorified. And then text 32, we see that as the Atri Mahamuni and Mother Anasuya are looking at the three deities, after giving the benedictions, these three deities like Lord Brahma, Lord Vishnu and Lord Shiva, they disappeared from that place. And then text 33, we see that the partial representation of these three deities appeared or born from the womb of Mother Anasuya. Like from Lord Brahma, moon god appeared, and from Lord Vishnu, the great mystic Dattatreya was born, and from Lord Shiva, Durvasa Mahamuni was born. So of course, we hear these great personalities in the scriptures in different places also. Especially, we hear Dattatreya was mentioned as one of the incarnation of the Supreme Lord in the first canto also, when Suta Goswami was narrating all the many incarnation of the Supreme Lord, not all of them, but many of the incarnation of the Supreme Lord. At that time, Suta Goswami also mentions about Dattatreya as one of the incarnation of the Supreme Lord Krishna. Is a Sastam Atre Apatyatvam, like that. Sastam is the sixth in that section. He's the sixth incarnation of the Supreme Lord, Atrera, like in the son of the sage Atri. And his mother name is also mentioned in that sloka as Anasuya, like, he's born from the womb of Mother Anasuya. And then he spoke about the subject of the spiritual knowledge to many great personalities like Alarka, Yadu, Haya, like that. So that is also mentioned. So we see that, Krishna comes time to time to give this wonderful spiritual knowledge, so that the conditioned living entities in this material world who are suffering can take advantage of this spiritual knowledge and then go back home, back to Godhead. So Krishna is very much concerned about us more than we concerned about ourselves. So he's coming time to time and giving this knowledge so that we can take advantage and then practice based on that knowledge, and then get relieved from all the miseries of this material world and go back home, back to Godhead. Like that. So, and then we also hear about the moon god in the scriptures, especially in Bhagavatam. We see that, the Supreme Lord Krishna, when he appeared on this planet in the Dwapara Yuga period, so he appeared in the dynasty of the moon god. We hear Lord Ramchandra appeared in the dynasty of the sun god, and Lord Krishna appeared in the dynasty of the moon god. Similarly, we hear about Durvasa Mahamuni also in the Bhagavatam, different, especially in the pastime of Ambarish Maharaj, about Durvasa Mahamuni at that time also. And then in the text 34, now Maitreya Muni is coming to the other daughter of the Kardama Mahamuni and Devahuti, that Shraddha, the wife of Angira, so she gave birth to 4 daughters named Sinivali, Kuhu, Raka, and Anumati. And then in the last sloka of today, so it's mentioned here that apart from these 4 daughters, so she also has 2 sons, Uttaya and Brahaspati. And we hear in Bhagavatam, like, this Uttaya is one of the personality that was in the assembly of the sages when Maharaj Parikshit is listening Bhagavatam from Suta Goswami. Like when Suta Goswami came, not Suta Goswami, Sukadeva Goswami came and started speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Maharaj Parikshit. At that time, there are many great saintly personalities in that assembly, and one of them is Uttaya. Like Prabhupada mentions in that purport that this Uttaya is the guru of the king Mandhata. And we hear about Mandhata also in Bhagavatam later canto. And then the another son is Brospati. So of course we hear Brospati about Brospati also in Bhagavatam, other places. So he's the guru of the demigods. And we hear about how the king of the heaven, Lord Indra, one time offends Brospati, and due to that, what kind of consequence Lord Indra went through, that pastime also is narrated in Bhagavatam in the upcoming cantos like that. So this is the last sloka for today. So I'll pause it here. In the next section, we'll hear about the other daughters of Kardama Muni and Devavati descendants of the lineage of the Manu. So I'll pause it here. Thank you all for giving this opportunity. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
Yeah, thank you so much, Prabhuji, for a wonderful class. Hare Krishna.